The Charlotte Hornets finally got the brightest glimmer of hope for success in the future a couple of days ago when the NBA, or at least Woj, announced that the Hornets were in discussions with Miles Bridges in regards to coming back to the league. Now, Melo and Miles Bridges, we've already seen, they're one of the most exciting duos in the NBA, but when you throw in the fact that the Hornets are like 9-24 right now, and have a potential shot at Victor Webenyama, that makes things even more spicy. Kelly Oubre Jr. is an impending free agent that we need to bring back. Same thing with Jalen McDaniels, although the verdict is still out on PJ Washington, especially with him wanting close to $20 million. Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, big contracts, old players, we need to move on, I think. And then we got a couple of young guys we need to talk about, Mark Williams, James Bouknight. So we're going to be looking at all that and more in today's video. Make sure you stick around for the full thing. Also, make sure to like button and leave me a comment down below, as it really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. Now let's go ahead and get started again, looking at this huge news in a little bit more detail with the press release that came out on ESPN, where it said the Charlotte Hornets and restricted free agent forward Miles Bridges are gathering traction in talks on a new deal. Optimism exists that an agreement could come in the near future. Now, this is important because, of course, Bridges pleaded no contest to a felony charge in November, 3 years of probation, no jail time, and it's still under investigation by the league, but the sooner he gets signed to a team, the quicker that suspension can get handed out. So, he definitely isn't going to be playing this year, at least in my opinion, but we could be seeing a guy who averaged 27 and about 4 assists per game coming back to the Hornets in the 2023-2024 NBA season. And that could be huge because right now the Hornets are one of the worst teams in the league. This is a guy that averaged 20 points per game on 49% shooting from the field, 33% from 3, and could potentially, bring the Hornets back to playoff contention. This is a guy that also, when he wants to, can play defense. We've seen him average a steal and a block per game, and he's still 24 years old. Now let's take a look at the Bridges effect on the Hornets. Without him, or with him, last year, they were much, much better offensively. 4th in points per game, and then 9th in defensive rating. So top 5 in points per game, top 10 in offensive rating. That's very good. They had the number 6 pace of play with Melo and Miles throwing lobs, or I guess Melo throwing lobs to Miles. But this year, they are 21st in points per game. Now, I know they haven't had a lot of guys for a lot of games, but 30th in offensive rating. Dead last in the NBA. That is rough. And he also has the friend effect here on Melo because, in a small market, it's going to be tough to get a guy like LaMelo Ball who demands such a large attention grouping, I guess you could say. It's going to be hard to convince him to stay in a small market when, there could be more fame to be had elsewhere. So bringing Miles back, we saw him talking after the game last night. It could be huge. Now a bonus. On top of getting Bridges back, the Hornets, like I said, right now have the second worst record in the NBA, only behind the Pistons. So we're looking dead at a guy like someone of this caliber. Maybe not Webenyama, although we would still have a 14% chance if the season ended today. Cam Whitmore, Scoot Henderson, Gigi Jackson, Amen Thompson, Derek Whitehead, guys like that are looking more and more attainable by the day. Maybe a Nick Smith Jr., and we send away a guy like Terry Rozier. Scoot Henderson on the squad would be tough. Melo, Scoot, and Miles Bridges with maybe like a Mark Williams in the paint. I could definitely see that. That could be a very fun squad to watch. Now, this Hornets team also has, like I said, some impending free agent decisions, one of which, Kelly Oubre Jr., we need to bring back. Kelly's averaging 21 a game this year, 5.2 rebounds, and 1.2 assists, and probably has been our best offensive player so far this year. When he gets out, he gets hot, and I could see him being a 3-and-D caliber wing on a NBA championship level team. 43% from the field, 31% from 3, and 1.7 steals so far this year for Kelly. So we can play a little bit of defense too. Like I said, little 3-and-D action. But really like me some Kelly Oubre here in Charlotte. He also puts the ratings through the roof, especially for the female population in Charlotte. But he is shooting at 51% from 2-point range right now, so maybe he needs to drive it a little bit more instead of chucking up threes, but that's kind of what he does. PJ Washington, Jalen McDaniels, also a couple of free agents here. Would like to keep McDaniels, although the verdict on PJ is still out. He has not been great this year, although he is 10th in the NBA in clutch field goal percentage. Made 18 shots, shooting it I think about 38 times in the clutch, so that's a plus. He's averaging 14.6 points, 4.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists so far this year. He's playing about a little bit over 30 minutes a night, so we will see what they decide to do. If he wants like $20 million, I think we got to let him walk, to be honest. 43% from the field, 31% from 3, 1 block, 1 steal for PJ this year. So he is good defensively, but sometimes can be a liability. Does some crazy stuff on offense. Jalen McDaniels, though, really, really like Jalen McDaniels. I think he's another guy like Kelly Oubre. You look at it as a wings league, guards league. There's not really that many big men dominating anymore. I mean, there are some, but you don't see a big man on every team dominating. So I would like to bring Jalen McDaniels back, a guy who averaged about 11 and 4 last year, 45% shooting from the field, 36% from 3, 1 steal. And he's a guy that I don't think will be asking for a lot of money, so should be somebody we could, somewhat easily sign. Now, big contracts that we are going to have to deal with. Gordon making $60 million over the next 2 years. Unfortunately, he is made of glass, so that's tough. And then Terry Rozier, $96 million over the next 4. That includes this year, though. Both of those include this year, though. So only one more year of Gordon's crazy contract after the year. But like I said, the man is made of glass, unfortunately. He's on the injury report every other night. And for a guy making $30 million, that's just not going to cut it. Only scoring at 15, or only averaging 15 points a game this year, 5 rebounds, 4.1 assists. Not good numbers for a guy that's overpaid in his 30s, injury prone, and making, like I said, a lot of money. 45% from the field, 35% from 3, playing about 33 minutes a game when he does play. So I'm all in favor of moving on from Gordon Hayward. Terry Rozier, on the other hand, maybe we keep him around 21 points a game, 4.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists. He's not really hurting us at all. So if we do keep him around, I would not have any problem with that. 41% from the field, 33% from 3, 31 minutes. He is only 28. Gordon's more 30, 31. Terry, 28, still in his prime. So keeping him around wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Now, what happened here to James Bouknight? This was a guy preseason that I thought was going to be a big-time breakout guy for the Hornets. Unfortunately, he's only averaging 5 points a game, 2.1 rebounds, 1.2 assists per game, and that's when he really even plays. He's only playing about 15 minutes a night, shooting at 36% from the field and 28% from 3. So maybe we just missed on a pick there. I don't know. It's looking like that draft class that was looking to be so promising has, yet again, turned out to be a bunch of busts. Now, looking at the outlook for this Hornets team, at this point, it's a race to the bottom. Because even if Bridges does sign with us, and maybe it's at a discounted price, that's something you got to look at too. Even if he does sign with us, likely not playing this year due to suspension. So we are in a race with the Detroit Pistons, who are without their best player in Cade Cunningham for a while, I believe the whole year. We're in a race with them for the worst record in not only the East, but the NBA. Now, there is a team out west that is in contention as well, and that is the Houston Rockets. But right now it's the Rockets, Pistons, and Hornets as the 3 worst teams in the NBA ever since the Orlando Magic got hot and decided to actually start winning basketball games. Looking at the upcoming schedule, we go to Portland, then to Golden State, so 2 very losable games. Then we got Oklahoma City at home, very losable games. Same thing with Brooklyn, who is the hottest team in the league right now. Probably beating LA again, just beat them last night. I can see us winning that one at home, and then playing Memphis and Milwaukee back-to-back. That's going to be, probably a couple of L's. Then we go to Indiana and Toronto twice, probably a couple of L's. Play Boston twice, probably a couple of L's. So you see, we're going to be losing a lot of games here over the next few as we're trying to get Victor Webenyama. But if we can get the duo of Airbnb back together, I don't care how many games we have to lose this season to do it. Kelly Oubre, Jalen McDaniels, PJ Washington, we'll see what the decisions are on them in free agency. Comment down below. Let me know what you think we should do with them. And Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward. Mark Williams is a guy, we didn't really talk about him a lot, but I would like to see him to continue to develop. Same thing with Bouknight. If we can still even develop him, I don't know if that's a lost cause or not. But with that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like button and leave me a comment down below, as it really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.